Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Steven. Thank you so much for that, for those interested requests in any type of videos. Random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough. Listen, movie review, re-review, streams, commentaries, tier list, rankings, randomness, whatever the case may be, reactions. I'll get to it when I can. PayPal is the best way to do it. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below, and I will, like I said, get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Now, this is one of a couple requests for Steven, and it is for Nightwolf, also known as 13 Hours. Now, 13 hours, I guess, because that's how long it takes for daytime, because it takes place over the course of one night. But 13 Hours to me is such a stupid name for a werewolf film, because it just reminds you, wasn't there a Michael Bay movie called 13 Hours? So I'm going to call the other title Nightwolf. Granted, it's sadly not the Mortal Kombat character, because I kind of wish it was him instead of this shitty movie. But at least that sounds more like a werewolf film than 13 Hours. 13 Hours just sounds generic as hell. But anyway, I know Steven, he was not a fan of this film. He kept calling it the automaton transfusion of werewolf films. To be honest, I don't even remember automaton transfusion. I remember not liking the film. But to be honest, I know I don't like the film, but I don't remember the details. So, there you go. It may very well be. But I do think this film sucks. Now, is it the worst werewolf? There's been a lot of bad werewolf films throughout the years. There's not that many good werewolf films in the grand scheme of things. It's funny, because as I do this, my friend Fabio just reviewed all of the Howling films, and I agree with him, and I've said this before, the only one I thought was good was the second film. The second film was the only one I thought was worth the shit, because it's funny. Because you got Sybil Danny, you got Christopher Lee, you got Red Brown screaming and shooting werewolves in the face. At least it's fun. The first Howling I thought was overrated. I always thought it was overrated. And the others were really shitty. And the seventh one is the worst werewolf film I've ever seen. I still think it's the worst one. I still think Howling 7 is way worse than this. But there's a lot of bad ones. The ones I liked, Dog Soldiers, which this kept promoting itself as for the producer of Dog Soldiers. Well, it's not from the director of Dog Soldiers, so who gives a shit? Granted, he's made some bad films too. Some like Hellboy, the newer one, or I didn't see the new one, but the other new one, the previous new one. I didn't see, what the fuck was it called? Hellboy, the Crooked Man, I can't remember what it was called. I never saw it, honestly. But the one with Mila Jovovich, which there were stories that got screwed around behind the scenes, and Neil Marshall didn't really get to direct the film he wanted. But what was that, Doomsday? He did that, and I didn't like that. But I liked The Descent, and I liked Dog Soldiers. Now, Dog Soldiers, so it doesn't matter this from the producer. That don't mean squat. Dog Soldiers is my favorite werewolf film. If I have to think of 4 others for a top 5, somewhere in the 4 would be, in no particular order, Bad Moon, Silver Bullet with Corey Haim, Full Eclipse, which I always forget, because sadly I don't think that has a Blu-ray, but it's Mario Van Peebles, like cops, and then Mario finds out that this group of cops, this squad, are werewolves. Bruce Payne is in it. I like Full Eclipse. So yeah, Bad Moon, Full Eclipse, Silver Bullet, and Late Phases, I think is a bit underrated. It's about this blind veteran that goes to this like kind of like retirement resort thing, and then there's a werewolf, and he's got to find who it is and gear up for the battle for when the next full moon appears. I like An American Werewolf in London. There might be 1 or 2 others I don't mind, like Howling 2. But It'd be hard to make a top 10 of just strictly werewolf films. Because I don't even like the original The Wolfman. I prefer Frankenstein, Dracula, The Invisible Man, but The Wolfman, Wolf or Jack Nicholson, I'm not a fan of. Although James Spader is kind of fun in it. But The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, I was not a fan of. I didn't see the new one that came out. I was never requested it, so I never saw it. Although I heard it was shit. But most of those Howling films were shit. I haven't even seen Teen Wolf, to be honest, or Teen Wolf 2. But I know I'm 5 minutes in. I haven't talked about this fucking movie because there's not much to talk about, to be honest. Some girl who went to school in America comes back to England to this place in the middle of nowhere where her family's at. She sees her, I forget if it's her father or stepfather. I think stepfather. Anyway, it's Simon McCorkindale. Sally's only in one scene. He has like 4 lines. But I remember him from Jaws 3. He was the guy that, to me, has the death I always think about, where he gets trapped in the mouth. And he's kind of like, not even munched to death. He just pulverized and stuck in there. I always thought that was creepy. He was also on this TV show called Manimal, where he was like a guy that could turn into animals, like a hawk and stuff, and solve crimes. I think it was only like 8 or so episodes, but Manimal. So I wonder if that's why they got him. Hey, you could turn into animals. So here's a movie, but he doesn't turn to an animal. So it's like, hey, let's get the guy from Manimal to be in a werewolf movie. And they have one scene and he dies off screen. It's just a waste of him. So after talking with him, she goes to the barn. Her younger brother, Luke, no Skywalker here, he's in there. I think he's like 13 years old. There's another brother named Steven. There's this girl who's going out with Steven, who used to be best buddies with the girl, and a few others. You don't give a shit about any of them. Isn't there one called Doug? You could do it, Doug. No, he can't. It's just a bunch of British tossers who snipe at each other. Toss my cookies, for all I care. A bunch of British tossers in a barn, sniping each other, being dicks. And pretty soon, they hear something. They find the stepfather dead. The dog dead. They escape to the attic. And we're like 20 minutes into the film. So you say, wow, it really starts going pretty quick. Yeah, but most of the death scenes are off screen. You see a little bit of aftermath blood, but nothing you haven't seen in other movies. You barely see the werewolf. When you do, it's fucking bald. At least the one werewolf is fucking bald, like me. Because I shave my head. I guess this werewolf. Just when you become a werewolf, your head just bald. And then you barely see it. Sometimes it has a point of view, which is this awful looking red tinted. What the hell do I even call it? Red tinted werewolf cam. That looked cheap as fuck. What was it doing? Playing the Virtual Boy? And then, like, because we took so quick into this, you don't care about anybody. And nobody's likable because they just, like the younger brother, he's sleeping he's somewhere else and he disappears for like most of the film until the third act. So it's the lead and her other brother and the brother's girlfriend, who's used to be the lead's buddy, this guy named Doug, this other guy, and so forth. All they do is snipe at each other. All they do is get mad at each other. And I'm like, are you serious? People are dying. There's a fucking werewolf in your house. And you still snipe at each other. You ever heard of priorities? Priorities. Save the shit talker for later. Fuck all these characters. They could all die for all I care. And of course, conveniently, nobody has a cell phone. Oh, I left my cell phone here. Oh, this cell phone ain't working. Well, this cell phone is damaged. Oh, yeah, how convenient. Nobody has a fucking cell phone. Which is bullshit. There'd be 1 or 2 people having a goddamn cell phone. Even ones with fingerprints like I do. But, hey. Hey. I don't know why I sound like the fucking thing from Legend of Zelda. Hey. Link, hey. And then someone says a stupid line. Anyone got any carrier pigeons? Why? So you're shoving up your ass? Use that as a distraction? So the lead gets an idea. I'll pound on the door and be a distraction while you go phone. Does that. She runs back, but the werewolf catches on what's going on and kills the other guy after he's talked on the phone. And most of that's off screen. When she climbs up, the werewolf bites her on the leg. So you know where that's going to go. If it goes to usual werewolf rules. And then there's only like, the 4 of them left. And they snipe at each other. You shot at my brother, get back at me? And this is from the lead, who we're supposed to root for. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You don't complain about your female friend fucking your brother. I don't care if she fucked him in the ass with a strap on. There's a werewolf down below who just killed your dad, stepdad, whoever, and your friend, all these other people. Don't worry about this shit now. The one guy, Steven, and the one girl, they crawl through. And after they crawl through, they're like, oh, we're here. And then they start making out. Because that's what I would do. Yeah, when you see, dead bodies, there's a werewolf around, let's, make out and kiss and get ready to fuck. Because that's what I always do. Then lo and behold, there's a werewolf and tries to get in through the door, and the guy, Steven, bails on the girl. The lead girl gets there, and this was so awfully edited. By the way, do not watch the version. If you have to watch this for whatever the hell reason to see for yourself, don't watch the version on YouTube, because anytime there's a little bit of blood, it's blurry. I'm like, that's not even much blood there. It's just aftermath, but it blurs that. So there you go. You'll find to watch somewhere else, like I did. But the lead girl stabs, I guess, the werewolf, because I swear you don't see the stick or whatever go into the werewolf. Then you see a bunch of shaky cam. You see a candle blow out. You see the other girl being steered in a corner. And it goes like back and forth, back and forth. I swear I never see the werewolf one time, and all of a sudden the werewolf is gone. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? This is so awfully edited. Who edited this? Stevie Wonder? What the fuck happened? But because of all that, they get a shotgun. They get back to where they were. The one girl's pissed at the guy for leaving her. She gets the gun. And she's like, I'm going to take care of this. The werewolf opens up the hatch. She trips and accidentally shoots herself in the head. Which you barely see, because it's more like, shoot. And then you see maybe like a little aftermath when the body falls. Kind of like, well, there's a poster here, but, wherever the end of the poster. Imagine, like that. But you don't really see, like, a big, no. This film's too fucking cheap. It's so cheap, you barely see the werewolf. You barely see any on-screen kills. Even when she accidentally blows her head up, which, I mean, the whole idea is stupid, but once again, makes you look at how dumb the characters are. The werewolf don't have to do anything. They'll kill themselves. That was funny in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. I'll go watch that movie instead if I want to watch that shit. Much better movie than this. So it's just the three of them left. Meanwhile, it keeps coming back to this cop, and I don't know if it was like a dog catcher. Yeah, because they got a call from that guy earlier, the phone, and there's a wild animal, so there's a guy, like a animal control, goes with the cop. They stop by a car, and early in the film they mention how the mom is missing, and oh, she must be going to see a lover, she must be having an affair. And then here the cop and the dog catcher, whatever, finds his car, and there's this woman's purse. Now, I'm sitting there going, I wonder if something has to do with this mom character. I wonder. Sorry, got a text from someone. Sorry about that. That was more interesting in this movie, that text. And those two didn't even fucking matter because they get to the house and within 10 seconds they die anyway. So, the whole thing was fucking pointless. Finally, the lead girl, because remember she had a bit earlier, she starts turning into a werewolf herself. The brother character, Steven, was an asshole and had hit her at one point. So when she turns to a werewolf, she goes after him and kills him off screen. Then she, I guess, very quickly turns back, which I don't understand that. Where she became a werewolf, killed the guy, but then quickly turned back to her human, just so that the other brother, the one you forgot about, Luke, and this guy named Dud find her, and then she turns to a werewolf again. Was like a time, was like cramps, like, oh, time, oh, now I'm a werewolf, now I'm not again, now I'm a werewolf, now I'm not again. It's not like the mom does. Oh, I'm so spoiler. Yes, the other werewolf is the mom character. Big surprise, I know. But why is the lead turned to werewolf and she's back to human, now she's back to werewolf again? Just because. The two werewolves fight, but it's barely a fight. It's pretty much a fucking. Really just this. They're just two wolves just doing this. Two hairless, shitty looking werewolves doing this. The younger brother hid in a car. Dud gets like the gun, the tranquilizer, whatever. So I guess that's the reason why the cop and the dog catcher ever got there. Shoots the one werewolf, the other who's the lead. Dud begs, please don't do it. Guy gets killed anyway. It's the next morning. The lead wakes up, bald, sees the guy Dud dead by her hands. She's not really that broken up about it. She acts about, I at worst, if I go to McDonald's and they get my order wrong. She barely has a reaction. And, like, she knows, she did figure out that she killed this guy, who was, I thought, your friend. She barely has a reaction. She's like, and walks away. And then she finds her mom, and that's where you find out that the other werewolf was the mom. Which, I thought he shot her with a tranquilizer, but I guess maybe it was something else, and that's why the werewolf is dying, unless it was from the fight with her and the lead. I can't remember. I don't give a shit. It really doesn't matter. She could die of AIDS. Talk about the character, not the actress. The character, the werewolf. That'd be a movie. A werewolf die from AIDS. That'd be a different type of movie. I guess the other reason why the cop and the dog catcher had to be there is because the one guy, Steven, has screwed up the one vehicle, the Jeep, which is then that makes you go, why don't they just get in the vehicle and leave? Well, because this vehicle had to get there, and now the younger brother's hiding in there, and he just saw that his sister turned to a werewolf. Your sister just turned to a werewolf, and you go with her. The ending is they're driving a car to somewhere safe, and the brother's riding with the sister. I'm like, you just saw her turn to a fucking werewolf. What's to stop her from turning into a werewolf again and eating your ass? Literally, and yeah, literally. It's like, what? You say, well, your brother-sister bonds are strong. You think at least the sister would go, you need to stay away from me. You can't stay with me. And, I don't know, leaves the kid behind somewhere, drops him off somewhere, and drives away because I don't want to put you in danger. But she seems fucking fine with it to me. She's going along with it. Well, if your brother dies, it's your own ass. Goddamn. So that's the thing. You have a werewolf movie with unlikable characters. You barely see the werewolf. The few times you do is really an ugly design, I thought. And bald. Barely any on-screen kills. Some janky editing at times. The setting, just, right, little, like, mansion. No, man, well, I guess close to that. The endings, like, what? Stupid decisions the characters make. And at the end, they're pretty boring. Pretty fucking boring. So, yeah. I mean, is it the worst werewolf film? I don't know. Because there's a lot of horrible. Like, I wonder if I put worst werewolf movies. There's Cursed. Dark Wolf was pretty bad. An American Werewolf in... Well, you know what? An American Werewolf in Paris I would actually watch over this. Although that has some awful CGI. Howling New Moon Rising is worse than this. God, there's a lot of bad ones. Project Metal Beast, which is disappointing. Skinwalkers, Blood and Chocolate. Fuck. A lot of those Howling sequels. There's a lot of fucking bad ones. Jesus Christ. This is crazy when I'm looking at this list. A lot of these, to be fair, I haven't seen. Like, is this worse than Howling 4? I don't know. Maybe, yeah, this might be worse than that. This is a lot of fucking worse. Goddamn. Take that for you will. Howling 7 is definitely still the worst one, but this was just so lackluster and boring. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.